Hey, welcome to After She Left. Stay till the end and don't forget to subscribe. She told me she'd never see him again. But there he was, walking into her hotel like nothing ever happened. My name is Derek. I'm 39 years old and live in Pittsburgh. What happened that morning felt like something out of a movie, except it wasn't fiction. It was my life, and it was falling apart in a parking garage beneath a Marriott. She said it was a client dinner, followed by an early flight to Chicago for some marketing seminar. But I noticed the heels in her overnight bag, the little black dress, the perfume she hadn't touched in months. We hadn't been in a good place, sure, but that felt different. Then the call came, the night before she left. I was in the kitchen rinsing out my coffee mug when I heard her voice change in the hallway. Softer, warmer. That voice she used to use with me back when we still mattered, when we were still trying. I didn't confront her. I didn't tell her I had taken the day off. I just waited, and when she pulled out of the driveway at 6:12 a.m., I was 2 cars behind. She drove straight downtown, not to the airport, not even close. She pulled into the valet at the Marriott and handed over her keys like she'd done it 100 times before. I parked a block away, walked into the parking garage, and found a spot where I could see the elevator clearly. Sat there with a gas station sandwich in my lap, watching cars come and go. It was just after 9 when the red Lexus rolled in, beat up, faded paint. But I recognized him the second he stepped out. The scruffy beard, the half-untucked shirt, the same smug expression I remembered from years ago. His name was Ben. She used to call him the biggest mistake of her life. And now he was stepping into the elevator of her hotel. I didn't even need to see them together. I knew. My stomach turned. Not just from the sandwich, but from the realization that every excuse, every late-night client dinner, every work trip, it had all been him. But here's the thing she didn't know. I wasn't alone. I had already called his wife. It wasn't hard to find her. Still tagged in a few of his old Facebook photos, still listed as married on LinkedIn. I had sent her a message the night before. Hey, I think our spouses are seeing each other. You deserve to know. She replied in 20 minutes. Now we were both in the garage. She pulled up 10 minutes after he did. Drove a silver Honda, parked like she knew exactly where to go. When she got out, I waved. She didn't smile, just walked over and stood beside me. She always hated me, she said, matter of fact. I nodded. I know the feeling. We didn't say much else, just waited. Watched the elevator numbers. Then, finally, the ding. That was it. The moment her lie came face to face with the one person she never expected. Not me. Her. His wife. I remember thinking how strange it was, standing in a parking garage under a downtown hotel, waiting to blow up 2 lives at once. But I also remember how calm I felt, like the truth was a weight I was finally setting down. She said she'd never see him again, but now I knew she'd never really let him go, and she had no idea what was coming next. Things started to fall apart way before the parking garage. I just didn't want to see it. About 3 months before the hotel, she started putting a password on her phone. Not just the usual code, Face ID, screen lock, and this hidden messaging app she swore was for work. She started sleeping with the phone under her pillow, which would have been funny if it didn't make me sick. When I asked her why, she laughed it off. My clients are needy, she said. They message me all hours. It's easier this way. That might have worked if I hadn't caught the way she'd tilt the screen away from me every time a message came in. Then there were the nights out. At first, it was once a week, happy hour with the girls. Then twice. Then 3 nights in a row for client dinners. I stopped asking questions because every time I did, she'd get defensive. And I started to feel like maybe I was the crazy one. The turning point was the champagne. It was a Sunday morning. She had left early for yoga, and I was looking for gum in her purse, the peppermint kind she always carried. That's when I found the receipt. 2 glasses of champagne. Chocolate-covered strawberries. A hotel name I didn't recognize. The date stamped at the top, last Thursday. She'd told me she stayed late for a team project. The thing is, her office closes at 6. I stared at that receipt for a long time. My first instinct was to crumple it up, throw it away, pretend it didn't exist. But I couldn't. Instead, I opened my laptop and searched the name printed on the bottom of the receipt, B. Hargrove. I knew her ex's name was Ben. Ben Hargrove. The initials matched. That's when the fog lifted. Everything I'd been pretending not to see came into focus. I sat there at the kitchen table while the coffee went cold and started putting it all together. The late nights, the locked phone, the perfume, the silk lingerie she swore she bought for herself. She was seeing him again. The guy who once cheated on her with her roommate. The guy she swore had ruined her ability to trust. The same guy who, 4 years ago, she told me was dead to her. So I got bold. I found him on LinkedIn. His profile was public, all smiles and a cheap suit with some motivational quote about closing deals. But what caught my eye wasn't his job. It was the picture. A woman beside him. Same last name. Wedding ring visible. His wife. Her profile was easy to find. She had that look, clean, structured, professional. Someone who planned everything. Someone who'd probably never even suspected a thing. I didn't know what I was doing when I clicked message. I just typed what I felt. Hi, I'm reaching out because I believe your husband is involved with my wife. I'm not trying to cause trouble, I just think you should know. She replied within the hour. Her message was short. This isn't the first time. My chest tightened. Not the first time. That's when I knew I wasn't just being paranoid. I wasn't losing my mind. I was being lied to, again and again, by the person who'd sworn to never hurt me. I wrote back, "Do you want proof?" She didn't hesitate. Yes. So I sent it, the receipt, a photo of my wife's overnight bag, packed for a one-night work trip, a picture of the perfume she only ever wore in the first year we dated. And then she said the one thing that changed everything. Let me know when. I'll be there. I closed my laptop slowly. The kitchen felt different, quieter, like the house knew what was coming before I did. She thought she was playing both sides. She thought she could string us along, him and me, and that we'd stay blind, that we wouldn't compare notes, that her past and her present would never collide. But she was wrong, because now her ex's wife and I had a plan, and she wouldn't see it coming. I called in sick the next morning. Didn't tell a soul, not my boss, not my buddy Travis, who usually checked in with me when I missed a day, not even my mom, who still sent feel better soon texts for grown-up colds. I just needed to disappear for a day and watch everything fall apart. She left the house around 7:30 a.m., hair done, heels on, coffee in hand, acting like it was just another day at the office. "Don't wait up," she called out as she shut the front door. "We're doing a late lunch with a potential client." I didn't answer. I just stood in the hallway, listening to her car pull out of the driveway. I waited 20 minutes, grabbed my bag, and left through the back. Downtown was quiet by the time I got there. It was one of those cloudy mornings where the sky looked like wet cement and everything felt heavy. I parked 2 blocks from the hotel, same as last time, but this time I wasn't there to eat a sandwich and sulk. I was there to end the guessing. I texted her ex's wife when I saw my wife's car in the valet lane. Me, "They're inside. You still good to do this?" Her, "I'm parked on the next street. Walking over now." She showed up 5 minutes later, cool as hell in a navy trench coat and sunglasses like she was about to host a press conference. Her expression didn't change much. No tears, no shaking hands, just this eerie calm, like she'd already cried herself empty. "She always hated me," she said again, like it was some punchline only she got. "Back then, I wasn't good enough for him. Guess we've got that in common." I nodded. My palms were sweating, but I kept them in my pockets. "You sure you want to do this?" She glanced up at the hotel. "Oh, I've been waiting 5 years." We rode the elevator up together. She didn't speak. I could barely breathe. Every ding made my chest tighten, like the elevator was squeezing the air out of my ribs. 7th floor. That was theirs. She'd told me once that she liked rooms on higher floors. Better light, she said. Feels more romantic. Right. Room 714. I remembered the number from the receipt. I raised my fist and knocked. A few seconds passed. Then footsteps. Then the door clicked open. There she was. Silk robe. Hair tousled just right. Holding 2 champagne glasses. She froze when she saw me. Her mouth opened, then shut. She tried to smile, but it slid right off her face. "Babe," she whispered, like maybe she could pretend this was some romantic surprise. I didn't say a word. I just stepped aside. That's when her face really changed. Like someone had yanked the floor out from under her. His wife stepped forward, quiet and steady. No one spoke. My wife stood there in the doorway, robe tied too tight, eyes wide, champagne glass shaking just slightly. She didn't drop it. She just froze. like she forgot how to breathe. Then, from the back of the room, laughter. He walked out of the bathroom shirtless, towel around his waist, still laughing at something. Probably something she said, probably some inside joke they thought would stay between them. Then he saw her, his wife, and just like that, the room went dead. He didn't even get to finish his laugh. It died on his lips like a fire that ran out of air. She didn't yell, I didn't either. We didn't have to. They knew. They were caught. Game over. And the best part? This was just the beginning. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Her hand trembled just slightly, still gripping that champagne glass like it was some kind of anchor. Her eyes darted from me to his wife, then back to me. Panic didn't just show up, it took over. You could see it in her face, the way her mouth kept opening and closing, like she was searching for a script that didn't exist. He stepped forward, towel still wrapped around his waist, suddenly trying to look like the calm one. This isn't what it looks like, he said, already raising his hands like some guy in a hostage situation. I stared at him, at the robe-clad mess behind him, at the room they'd shared while I was home doing laundry and she was supposedly at a seminar on digital branding. His wife moved first. She walked in without a word, past my wife like she was a ghost, and went straight to the table by the window. There it was. The bottle of champagne, 2 nearly empty glasses, strawberries on a silver tray like they were filming a damn commercial for infidelity. And then, she slapped the glass off the table. It shattered against the wall. The bottle tipped, fizzing and spilling onto the carpet like it knew the party was over. You're done, she said. Her voice wasn't loud, but it didn't need to be. It was the kind of voice that cut straight through flesh. Ice cold. Final. My wife finally broke. She started crying, reaching for me like we were in some cheesy drama where love could fix anything. I didn't mean for this to happen, she sobbed. It just happened. I was confused. I held up a hand. Pack your stuff. She blinked. What? You heard me. You can cry all you want, but this is done. She reached for me again. Please, I made a mistake. No, you made a choice over and over. He tried to chime in. Look, man, I don't think this is the place. I turned to him, slow and steady. You don't get to talk. His wife was already gathering things into her purse, calm as ever. My wife followed me out of the room, tears streaking her face, tripping over the edge of her robe. Wait, just talk to me. Please, we can fix this. We were halfway down the hall when she grabbed my arm. Don't walk away, she said, her voice rising. Behind us, his wife stepped out into the hallway. She was holding his phone. He left this, she said. My wife spun around. Give it back. His wife stared at her. No. I said, give it back. Then it happened. She lunged. Not like a wild animal or anything, but desperate, screaming, grabbing for the phone. His wife backed up, holding it high like she was keeping candy from a toddler. My wife nearly slipped, screaming louder now, sobbing, cursing, begging. That's when security showed up. 2 men in dark jackets, earpieces, and everything. They rounded the corner and paused, assessing the scene. One woman screaming, another backing away with a phone, me standing in the middle like I was stuck in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. She attacked me, his wife said, steady as ever. She tried to grab my property. The taller guard stepped forward. Ma'am, we're going to need you to calm down. She has his phone, my wife shouted, pointing. She can't just take it. I'm the legal owner of that line, his wife said. It's in my name. The guards looked at each other. One nodded. You'll need to come with us, ma'am. She stared at them, stunned. Me? She took his phone. One of them reached out. Let's go talk downstairs. I didn't stay to watch. I walked to the elevator, hit the button, and stared at the numbers as they lit up. Behind me, I heard her scream my name, once, twice. Then I heard the guard's voice, calm but firm. Ma'am, that's enough. She called me 3 times before I hit the lobby. I didn't answer. I walked past the front desk, past a family waiting for their bags, past a kid spinning in circles while his mom checked out, and out into the cold, gray light of the city. Everything she'd tried to hide came crashing down in one morning. And the second someone else took control, the mask came off. She wasn't the victim. She was just someone who finally got caught. I changed the locks that night, didn't even wait for morning. She still had a key, and after everything that happened at the hotel, I wasn't taking chances. I threw her suitcase on the porch, the same designer roller bag she used for her client trips. Set it right next to the potted fern she used to post Instagram stories about, back when she was still pretending we were happy. She called me 6 times between 9 p.m. and midnight, left voicemails that ranged from sobbing to blaming me to, let's just talk. I didn't answer. She had her sister call me the next day. Derek, she started, using that soft, almost maternal tone like I was a skittish animal. She's going through a hard time. Can't you at least let her come home and get her things? I laughed. They're on the porch. She hung up. By Friday, her ex's wife had filed for divorce. She messaged me that afternoon, a simple, no-frills DM. I filed today. Thanks for telling me when you did. I would have kept believing him. I stared at the message for a while before replying. You deserve to know. She replied once more. So did you. The thing that surprised me most wasn't the silence from my wife, it was how quickly she tried to spin it. On Sunday, I saw her Facebook post. Sometimes love is hard. Sometimes we face trials. We're taking space to work through a difficult season, but we're still hoping for peace and healing. Truth, growth, faith. I almost dropped my phone. Not a word about what she actually did. No accountability. Just vague emotional nonsense like we had grown apart over coffee, not because she was hooking up with the guy who once ruined her life. The comments came rolling in. Oh, sweetie, praying for you both, sending love your way. You'll come out stronger on the other side. I didn't comment. I didn't need to. Instead, I posted a single photo. Her robe. The silk one she wore when she answered the door at that hotel. Draped neatly over the foot of the bed, 2 champagne glasses in the background. No caption. It didn't take long. Within an hour, the same people who were sending her hearts started sending me DMs. What happened? Wait, is this real? I'm so sorry, man. I had no idea. Some of her friends blocked me. The rest quietly stayed on my side. The ones who always had a weird feeling, I guess. The ones who never fully bought the happy couple story. That same day, I met with a lawyer, clean-cut guy in his early 50s. Talked slow, asked the right questions, didn't flinch when I told him everything. He nodded once and said, "You're making the right move." I was done. She sent one last message that night. Can we please talk in person? Just once? You owe me that much. I didn't reply, but she didn't stop. Monday morning, she showed up at my job. I was out front with a customer going over some contract paperwork when I saw her standing across the parking lot. Windy day. Her hair was a mess. No makeup, just standing there holding her phone, staring at me like I was supposed to walk over and rescue her. I didn't move. I saw my boss, Jeff, step outside, frown, and walk up beside me. That her? I nodded. He squinted. You want me to say something? Before I could answer, he was already walking over. I heard every word. You need to go, Jeff said, not angry, just tired. He's not interested. She tried to say something. I couldn't hear what. But he shook his head and pointed to the sidewalk. She left. No scene, no screaming, just turned and walked back to her car. That was the moment I knew it was over. Not just the marriage, but the fantasy, the cover-up. The part of her that believed she could control the story. She tried to do damage control, but the truth was already out, and no one was buying her excuses anymore. The first morning I woke up in the new place, it was dead quiet. No scent of her coffee brewing, no blow dryer humming through the walls, no perfume hanging in the air long after she'd left. Just silence, and it felt like freedom. I'd rented a small 2-bedroom about 10 minutes from work. Nothing fancy. Clean, quiet, cheap. No rooftop deck, no fancy light fixtures. Just mine. The key scratched a little when I turned it in the lock, and there were no framed live, laugh, love signs on the walls. I liked it better that way. I filled the fridge with beer, frozen meals, and condiments I'd actually use. Took 2 full days off work just to reset. I didn't check my phone, didn't turn on the TV, just sat on the couch, shoes off, and let my brain settle. She texted once. I didn't answer. Her sister tried again, a voicemail this time. She's spiraling, she said. She's not eating. She keeps saying she made a mistake. I deleted it. That wasn't my problem anymore. Funny how that works. You spend years being someone's emergency contact. Then one day, you're just not. I started lifting again. Nothing crazy, just the basics. Squats, deadlifts, old school stuff. Got back in touch with Ben from work. Not the Ben, obviously. This one actually had a moral compass. We grabbed beers a few times, talked about stuff that wasn't drama, sports, job stuff, dumb jokes. I needed that. There were no more random client dinners, no more guessing, no more walking on eggshells in my own house. The stress that used to hang over me like smog, gone. One day, I ran into one of her old coworkers at a hardware store. She did a double take. "Derek?" I nodded. She looked around like she expected to see my wife behind me. "Wow, I didn't even know you guys split." "Yeah," I said, "it was time." She hesitated. If I'm being honest, we all kind of saw something off. Like, she was really good at the fake smile thing, you know? But we knew. That hit different. All this time, I'd thought I was crazy for noticing the cracks. Turns out other people saw them too. They just didn't say it out loud. A couple weeks later, I got a Christmas card in the mail. No return address. Just a white envelope with my name in familiar handwriting. Inside was a card that said, "Wishing you peace this holiday season." And inside that, a folded piece of paper with a $50 Home Depot gift card. At the bottom, one line, "From someone who knows you deserved better." It was her mom's handwriting. I sat with that for a while. Not because I missed her, I didn't, but because it was the first time someone on her side acknowledged the truth. I put the card in a drawer, used the gift card that weekend to buy a toolbox. Not the cheap kind, the solid one. The kind I'd never bothered with when she was around because it didn't match the aesthetic of our apartment. Life moved on. No grand finale, no dramatic music playing while I walked away in slow motion. Just peace. Without the lies, without the tension, without the games. Every breath felt a little lighter, and for the first time in years, I wasn't trying to fix anything. I was just living. 6 months later, I saw her again. It was at a mutual friend's wedding, a small ceremony in a church hall just outside of town. I almost didn't go, but something in me said I should, not to make a scene, not to confront her, just to prove to myself that I could show up, be normal, and leave with my head high. She was already there when I walked in, alone, no date, no ring. Just her, standing by the drink table in a muted green dress, trying to look like she wasn't watching the door. Our eyes met for half a second. Her smile twitched like she wanted to wave, maybe say hi, but I just nodded once, polite, distant, and kept walking. Later, I saw her sitting at a corner table by herself while everyone else danced. She barely spoke to anyone. Every time someone passed by, she'd glance up with this hopeful expression, like she wanted to be noticed, like she needed someone to pull her back in. No one did. Meanwhile, I was on the dance floor, laughing, moving, spilling beer on my shoes, and not caring. An old friend from high school, Jess, pulled me into a group picture. She handed me a plastic cup, and we talked for a while. She asked how I'd been. "I'm good," I said. "Better than I've been in years." At some point during the night, my phone buzzed. It was a DM from his ex-wife, a photo. Her hand held out, showing off a brand new engagement ring. "Thanks for showing me," she wrote. I stared at it for a second, smiled, replied, "Glad you walked through that door." And I meant it. Because in the end, the truth always catches up. She once thought I'd be the one sitting alone at weddings, sipping flat champagne and wondering where it all went wrong. But that wasn't me. That was her now. She lost more than just a husband. She lost the version of herself that people used to believe in. And I walked away clean.